Welcome back to Wife Without Kids. I'm Hannah. This channel is all about building a supportive and non-judgmental community for people like you who have made the choice to not have any children. You might be saying, Hannah, you've already done a react video to one of Jenny's videos, but I just really like her, so I'm going to do another react video to her most recent child-free video.
Some people want kids and already have them. Heartbreakingly, some people want kids and don't have them. Finally, there's my category, neither wanting nor having kids. Why not? Well, I don't have a dark secret to tell you, really.
The assumption is like, oh, you must have had a terrible childhood, or you haven't found someone to share your life with, and that's why you don't have any kids, or you have mental health issues. No, none of the above for me either. It's just, I just don't want to be a parent. And I think that actually makes it harder for people to understand why you're child-free, because the assumption is that something negative has happened or you're experiencing something negative, and that's the result of you making that choice to not have kids, rather than just making the choice not to have kids because you don't want to have children.
I just don't want kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. The Guardian has this summer published a whole series in which different women tell their own highly personal reasons for choosing child-freeness.
It is amazing that The Guardian is giving child-free women a voice. I think this is so cool that they're doing this. If you guys have a specific child-free video you'd like me to react to, go ahead and leave it down in the comments below, and I'll probably react to it.
At dinner parties, when I'm asked why I'm not a mother yet, and replying that I actually don't want kids like ever, the immediate reaction is most often confusion, I would say. Like, why? How could anyone not want kids? Is she just a bone-dry sociopath careerist? One of those non-binaries or whatever they call themselves nowadays.
Confusion is probably the perfect word to describe all of the things that you and I hear on the regular when it comes to telling people that we don't want to have children.
But I can tell that this is a mind boggle for most people. It seems like the majority of dinner party guests come to the conclusion that there must be a reason. Procreating is the norm after all. It's natural. It's the sole reason for our genitals. It's what we're put here to do and the source of our deepest, juiciest feelings of love. So if we choose not to, there has to be a reason.
People don't tend to be satisfied when you say, oh, it's because I just don't want to. Then they start listing off the reasons just in case maybe you don't want to tell them the reason. Then if they guess it, then you can be like, oh yeah, that's actually the real reason. I've been in a situation like that and it's really awkward because then I say, no, really the reason is I just don't want children. That is the whole reason. There's nothing secretive, nothing scary, nothing juicy. That's just how I feel.
Although there are a lot of childless people out there wanting but not being able to have children, I'm not one of them, which gives me a low-key bad conscience somewhere in my chest area.
I have actually felt a little bit of guilt with regards to that, and maybe that's like strange. I don't know if you guys have felt that, let me know, because I'm just going to assume that I'm a healthy person and that I could have children. And knowing that I have the ability to have children and just not wanting them, it does leave me feeling a little bit bad, because then I think like, what about those women who want kids so bad and there's something going on inside their bodies and they're not able to have kids? Sometimes I've actually wished that I could give my reproductive system to another person who really, really wanted babies. I don't know, I feel like mine's kind of just like sitting there going to waste when it could be helping someone else have a baby. But, you know, I guess things don't really work like that.
I can give and have given quite a few reasons for not wanting kids. For example, I love my lifestyle, running my own business, traveling, moving to new countries.
I really miss traveling. The last time I traveled was, well, I mean, I went to the gas station, but that doesn't really count. Maybe in 2021. You know, we all have our hopes up for 2021, but what if it's not any better than 2020? I can't believe I just said that, knock on wood. Sorry.
Oh, and having hours and hours all to myself, doing what I want, reading, eating the same lunch and dinner for a month straight.
That's literally what I do. I like make a batch of something, then I eat it all week long. Sometimes I get in a cooking mood and I want to cook something different every day, but sometimes I'm just not in a cooking mood, and I'm okay to just keep eating the same thing, meal after meal after meal.
And you know, the luxury of 8 hours uninterrupted sleep. It's a simple life, not having kids. It's calm, it's clean, white walls, white rugs, and there's the ethics of it, not bringing more kids onto an overcrowded, exhausted planet.
I remember when we bought this house years ago and we got cream/off-white couches, and everyone was like, why are you buying cream couches? They're going to be filthy when you have children. And I was like, haha, my secret, I'm not having kids. So guess what? I can have like white colored furniture. Except sometimes the furniture gets dirty when kids come over, but that's a whole different story. It's okay, it's washable.
And guys, what about the biology? Having someone growing inside my stomach for months with a gory grand finale of coming out of my, what now? Who else got a spine chill just from imagining what that must feel like?
That doesn't actually really freak me out. I dissected bodies in graduate school, so honestly, all the biology stuff, it fascinates me.
And to anyone who's experienced it firsthand, I'm mightily impressed. And as my friends with kids will tell you, more than a little curious. I do love some gore.
I'm very impressed with some of the ladies out there that have had kids, because your labor stories are, my goodness, pretty rough sounding. Yeah, hats off to you.
I'm gonna come clean. For the sake of every child-free person who's ever suffered a Karen snubbing them off at a dinner party, here goes. For me, not having children is not a sacrifice.
I concur with her on this point.
I don't invest in condoms for the sake of my career or lifestyle or personal finances. I don't choose between traveling or children. I don't care so much about the rainforest that I stay away from baby making.
I mean, I do care about the environment and our earth, but it's not a reason, and has never been a reason, why I've made the choice to not have any children.
Even if I could have the baby cake and eat it too, even if I could be a successful, financially comfortable, calm minimalist mom on a healthy planet, I still wouldn't.
She summed it up really well. I mean, like, when she said it, I was like, oh yeah, that. How come I've never said that in a video? Because that's how I feel. See, this is why I react to her videos. She's just so good at expressing herself. I don't feel like I'm not having kids so that I can have a career.
And maybe that is my dirty, dark secret. Children just aren't my vibe. I like kids, sure, I just don't want one for myself. It's not that I can't find reasons why I shouldn't have kids, it's more that I can't find a single reason why I should.
Very relatable, totally true, check.
Maybe that makes me an entitled, individualist millennial, too narcissistic to appreciate the selfless happiness you get from caring for another being. Or maybe it just makes me a person not meant to be a mother.
It's just so hard for me to think that every single female on the entire earth is meant to be a mother. I just don't think that's realistic, and I just don't think that's true. It's something people say a lot because they're like, well, you're a woman, you're supposed to have babies, that's why you're on earth. But somehow that kind of reasoning seems faulty because we don't really say that about any other choice that a human being can make. But yet we're saying it about kids. We're saying that every single woman in the entire world should be a mother because she can be a mother and she's meant to be a mother, so she should do it. Something seems a little off about that because I don't think one decision fits every single person in the entire world.
If you are a proud parent, or if you wish to be, I don't in any way want to rain on your parade. I think it's great that you want kids. Parents and child-freeers are not in like opposing trenches with some kind of will I won't I no man's land in between. There's no bad blood. One person's choice doesn't make the other person's choice wrong or ill-advised.
For sure, I totally agree with this. And as a child-free female, I totally get there are going to be things that I don't understand because I'm not a parent, but I don't think that makes me less of a person. And I really don't think there has to be any animosity between the two different ways of thinking. So they can have kids, I won't have kids, and we can still be friends, right? I think so.
I love that you have or hoping to have kids. I applaud you taking on that adventure, and I'm sure you can list as many reasons for having kids as I can for not.
We do. We think completely opposite about this, and I don't think we have to think the same about it. And that's totally fine.
That's the point. The reasons we list mean nothing to the other group. I can tell you about my white crayon-free walls. You can tell me about the smell of a baby's hair-free scalp. Both of us will be left kind of unmoved.
Exactly that. People who don't want kids think completely differently than people who want to have kids. So you're never going to understand the way the other person thinks because you don't think like that. The experiences that you're going to have being child-free might completely not appeal to someone who wants to have kids.
Since I've always known I don't want to have kids, I've not been that damaged by the societal pressure to reproduce. Instead of getting hurt by being called selfish, an unfulfilled woman, my reaction has been more of confusion. I'm stunned that anyone would care so much about my underused uterus, you know?
It is confusion. It is really confusion. I don't know why such a big deal is made about it. It's just a choice. It's a choice to make a different choice than a parent makes. And I just don't see how that's so difficult to understand. But maybe that's just because it's normal to me and I've always grown up being supported in my choice to not have kids and not feeling like you must have kids, you must have kids, you must have kids. I feel confident enough in who I am as a person that I'm just gonna not have kids and I'm okay if everyone else around me has them. That's not gonna change my mind or guilt me into having children.
So let's look at the most common criticism I get online for not having kids. First of all, you'll change your mind when you get older. How much older exactly? Secondly, the whole you'll regret it when you're old and lonely and you have no one to take care of you. That's a fair point. I just don't think that my potential lonely old lady existence is a good enough reason to have kids.
Also, quick aside, there are lots of older people whose kids don't ever help them do any of those things. They live far away. And I know this because I've met many of them. Yes, of course, there are some aging parents whose kids are totally there and are totally going to take care of them. And that's my plan. I'm totally going to take care of my parents when that time comes. But there's lots of kids who don't do that for their families. And just to have kids so that you'll hope that they'll take care of you when you're older doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Besides, I could always hire a live-in assistant if need be. It'll even be cheaper than raising a kid, I reckon. Better open a retirement savings account today just for that.
Ooh, she's smart. I like the way she thinks. That's my plan too.
And thirdly, you're selfish. Yes, I am. That's just stating the obvious. We're all human. The vast majority of our decisions are based on personal gain, whatever that decision happens to be.
I honestly think everybody's a little selfish. It's human nature to be selfish and to kind of look out for yourself. I do think you have to do things that you know are the right choices for you as a person. So if having kids is the right choice for you, then you do that. And if not having kids is the right choice for you, then you don't have kids.
Having kids is selfish. Not having kids is selfish. Calling someone selfish for not having kids is selfish. I'm completely fine with this. But sadly, most child-free people aren't as unharmed as I am. Getting pressured into parenthood by family or friends, even strangers, is still so common.
Between family, friends, and strangers, I probably get the most pressure from strangers that tell me I should have kids. Namely, middle-aged men, which is kind of weird.
Every day, people not meant to have kids do. Talking about this publicly on my own channels has had the result of like a tsunami of messages, comments and DMs from people across the board. Happy parents, unhappy parents, childless, child-free people.
Obviously, it's something that hasn't been talked about enough, and having platforms like this that allow us to talk about it is actually really encouraging, especially for people who are looking for support and looking to feel like they aren't alone, because you're not alone if you're child-free. Just remember that.
And actually, other influencers have told me that they're not going public with their child-free decision because they fear the reactions when speaking out.
I can understand that. I was pretty timid to start my YouTube channel, and when I made the decision to change my channel, have it just a child-free channel, yeah, I was nervous. I'm gonna be honest. And I'm still nervous. Every time I upload a video, I get a little bit nervous, but I'm child-free, so I'm just gonna talk about it and hopefully be supportive for other people who are looking for that support.
For many, having children isn't only a road to self-realization or whatever, it's actually survival. And believe me, I do feel privilege oozing out of my pores as I speak, and I realize how lucky I am to be born into a safe and financially secure society.
I think the best thing we can keep doing is having dialogue and discussions about why we're choosing to be child-free and supporting each other, because it really is a choice. It's not an obligation.
What about David, you might ask? We are both in this together after all. Well, he'll be happy as long as we're getting dogs. 2 of them. And I don't mind that. Let's call it a compromise.
She gets dogs, I have 2 cats. That works.
Whatever your decision does end up being, let's continue this conversation until every woman in every country feels comfortable and encouraged to make up her own mind.
Yes. And watching child-free videos, because that helps support the community too. And you can go ahead and check out another video right here.